camera is nearly powered up.
Take out the APU gantry as soon as possible. If the dropship gets powered up, it'll bring its main guns online. Omega Left, we're getting cargo secured. As soon as we're able to live, we need to get on board as quickly as possible. We're now tracking multiple targets inbound.
Got him on radar, Control. Moving to intercept.
Oh no! We're... meters altitude. Telemetry indicates as good as yet. Roger that, Control. We'll keep them off you.
This is a query. We're on him. Lead the way, sir. It's a pleasure to fight with you at last.
Omega lead, ejecting. Roger, Control. Omega, this is Control. We should lift off of the next dropship. Orders?
This is Forward 3. The gantries are retracting at Gamma launch site. They're at full power and counting down to lift. Salvage operation. This is Forward 1. You're running out of time. Party camera is nearly powered up.
Take out the APU gantry as soon as possible. If the dropship gets powered up, it'll bring its main guns online. Omega Left, we're getting cargo secured. As soon as we're able to live, we need to get on board as quickly as possible. We're now tracking multiple targets inbound.
Got him on radar, Control. Moving to intercept.
Oh no! We're... meters altitude. Telemetry indicates as good as yet. Roger that, Control. We'll keep them off you.
This is a query. We're on him. Lead the way, sir. It's a pleasure to fight with you at last.
Omega lead, ejecting. Roger, Control. Omega, this is Control. We should lift off of the next dropship. Orders?
This is Forward 3. The gantries are retracting at Gamma launch site. They're at full power and counting down to lift. Salvage operation. This is Forward 1. You're running out of time. Party camera is nearly powered up.
Take out the APU gantry as soon as possible. If the dropship gets powered up, it'll bring its main guns online. Omega Left, we're getting cargo secured. As soon as we're able to live, we need to get on board as quickly as possible. We're now tracking multiple targets inbound.
Got him on radar, Control. Moving to intercept.
Oh no! We're...
Attention to the paper doll. Make sure you guys are shooting the correct legs. Be careful of the collisions. I don't want to hear complaints about it. Work around it. Let's play this game.
I need another heavy. I've got TB and a quick draw.
I want to get fairly tight to it. Now, anybody who's going to be working range, I'm going to need you to fade right on this. If anybody's running short, we're just going to stay towards the top of the caldera if we're going to come at them.
I have you in the Griff. Griffin.
Sounds good.
Well, that's the thing. We got to get to brawling range, so I may be moving us, right up to the hoop if we have to.
Wolverine nach Charlie 4. It's fine, chill the out, man. It's fine, it's just a fire starter.
Don't load it in with none
15 seconds.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't die. 15 seconds, don't die.
Guys. 3, 2, 1.
Charlie Dar, CT, yellow. Okay, go for Charlie, see if we can get it.
There. To your left is there. Sorry, shit. So, jetzt guys, hinter die Indie-Pocken.
Medium speed, prepare to pull back E40 towards the E5 border. On my mark.
Left side, come on! Like now, I need strikes on the barrel. Wire are strikes up.
Die Hauptgruppe rechts, Uferlinie.
They have three mechs sitting on the left side when you pass over.
Overheating is bad.
Both legs on the Griffin. Get the Griffin.
Sorry about that. That was such a
That's right. I'm gonna spawn Lance, you guys in Charlie, Lance, you guys in Bravo. That's B2C1.
This third drop is 2 lights, 2 mediums, 2 heavies, 2 assaults.
Jetzt in die Breite, zieht in die Breite.
Lights, watch our backs. We're gonna about base and take up position in Bravo 6.
Ja, kurz Ausschaltung, Delta 4-3 Stück, 2 Mediums, ein Light, wie ich es richtig gesehen habe.
Make a firing line.
C4 Tactical Hill, boys.
Fox.
Lauf unter ECM, hab 2 durchlaufen, 10 Bravo 4.
And get ready to hit people coming from our right.
Charlie on the left, Charlie, Hellbringer on the left.
Okay, let's group up towards the left. We're gonna press through Bravo 3 to Bravo 4. I think they're kind of spread out.
Check yourselves. Make sure you've got, UAV cool shot.
Here they come. They're pushing hard, guys.
Decro. Tez on.
Go.
Oh, got a contact here, Bravo 3.
Nice, Marshall. I'm on Delta Griffin.
Well, if you cross it, then get in their face. They got a highlighter. They just pushed up on Theta. We need help on Theta. Up on Theta.
Yep, that's the noise. Go. Let's finish this.
Full pressure, guys. Full pressure. They're down low. They're down low in Charlie 3.
Get the fucking arm, Jackson.
Jackson, cool shot.
Cough. I got him.
Okay,
Go, B3, go.
Echo, go.
Get over on your medium, guys. Get Echo Stormcrow.
God, I suck as a pilot, but thank I packed my skill.
I'm sorry that you died, sweet girls, but we will send a reasonably nice letter to your family.
Salvage operation. This is forward 1. You're running out of time.
off of the second dropship. Orders?
This is forward 3. The gantries are retracting at Gamma launch site. They're at full power and counting down the lift. Salvage operation. This is forward 1. You're running out of time. Party camera is nearly powered up.
Take out the APU gantries as soon as possible. If the dropship gets powered up, it'll bring its main guns online. Omega Left, we're getting cargo secured. As soon as we're able to lift, we need to get on board as quickly as possible. We're now tracking multiple targets inbound.
You've got them on radar, Joel. Moving to intercept.
Oh no! We're... meters altitude. Telemetry indicates a good eject. Roger that, Control. We'll keep them off you.
This is the query. We're on them. Lead the way, sir. It's a pleasure to fight with you at last.
Omega lead, ejecting.
Roger, Control.
Omega, this is Control. We should lift off of the second dropship. Orders?
This is forward 3. The gantries are retracting at Gamma launch site. They're at full power and counting down the lift. Starting salvage operation. This is forward 1. You're running out of time. Party camera is nearly powered up.
Take out the APU gantries as soon as possible. If the dropship gets powered up, it'll bring its main guns online. Omega Left, we're getting cargo secured. As soon as we're able to lift, we need to get on board as quickly as possible. We're now tracking multiple targets inbound.
You've got them on radar, Joel. Moving to intercept.
Oh no! We're...
Okay guys, that's our last match of the season. Let's make this one count.
Wenn sie zu mir kommen, mich überraschen, ziehe ich sie zu euch und fertig.
Alles klar. Alright, so medium's Gamma, light's Theta, heavy's Kappa.
Roger.
Alright, here we go. Driver Lance, Theta is yours. W key.
Roger.
Alright, can't see anything, stacking up in Theta.
I keep getting seismic.
Can you see them?
Yeah, they got heavies up here as well. Kill anything that moves.
Lights, just give us some scouting. That's probably the best thing for you guys.
Roger, moving to E4.
Here they come. What do you see? What do you see? 100 and Delta 4 on. Alright guys, comms, got it.
Yep, prepare to fight, call target.
Pushing in, guys.
Here we go.
That big moved up. That big mech has moved up. Copy that, okay.
Wait for them to come to us.
Roll into them.
I'm rolling.
Rolling.
There's Max D3 coming from our right, guys.
Yeah, we got this. I want to call something and I want to see it dead in seconds. Make it happen.
Okay, auf 3. 1, 2, 3. Go.
Guys, we need to get on top of her here quick.
Scheiß Tom Cookie, qu'est-ce qu'il dans le dos là?
Keep going, let's go!
Go. Everybody in.
Got him. Nice.
Rock traps down.
That's all they can move, guys. Go now.
Bravo's leg.
Nice. Holy shit.
Yep, get out of there right now.
Take care of that Black Knight, taking it pieces.
So kill him now. Push forward, guys, push forward.
Nice fucking job.
Just run. Stay alive and run.
Nice job, everyone. Well fucking played. That is how it is done.
Fuck yeah, man. Well done.
I can forgive you for shooting me in the back.
Alright, keep your eyes active, guys. Don't have scouts on this one, so we're gonna have to all scout.
I'll be there soon too. We've got mechs on the way. You guys got this.
Seems like a fucking ambulance 911 call.
We are headed into drop 2. 2 lights, 4 mediums, 2 heavies, 0 assaults on skirmish. Let's take a look.
We need to spread out a bit. We need to see where from they're coming, and then we will.
Alright, boys. Manly men. We're gonna take some fire. We're gonna put fire out. Just make sure you trade well.
Yeah.
So, stopp, wir ändern Bewegungsrichtung, Drehen.
Schon zu weit.
Yeah, we need to go it now.
Yes. Keep it up, hold your ground. They have a lot of guys beat up CTs.
We're going peeking at us, Rocket 4.
Yep, you got one right here.
We're doing alright, guys. We're up by 2. Stay cagey. 3 remaining. We got this one.
Alright, guys, let's do this.
Oh my fucking lord!
Foxtrot is red CT.
Alright, light going behind him.
Hey, Charlie, come on, guys, finish him.
Side doors open.
Prepare for rapid speed.
Stalker, Charlie.
Tir d'opportunité sur le couverture par l'ultra là.
Oh, and he got the kill.
And with a second shot, takes down Imminent with his double.
Derrière, bravo.
Dans les jambes toujours.
Like, go back.
Don't panic, just do it.
Yes!
It was a great match, back and forth, all sorts of stuff going on, incredible shots, things we've never seen before, and things you don't get to see.
Good job, Dara.
Yeah.
meters altitude. Telemetry indicates it's good eject. Roger that, Control. We'll keep them off you.
This is McQuarrie. We're on him. Lead the way, sir. It's a pleasure to fight with you at last.
Omega lead, ejecting. Roger, Control. Omega, this is Control. We should lift off of the next dropship. Orders?
This is Forward 3. The gantries are retracting at Gamma launch site. They're at full power and counting down to lift. Starting salvage operation. This is Forward 1. You're running out of time. Target Gamma is nearly powered up.
Take out the APU gantries as soon as possible. If the dropship gets powered up, it'll bring its main guns online. Omega left. We're getting cargo secure. As soon as we're able to live, we need to get on board as quickly as possible. We're now tracking multiple targets inbound.
You've got them on radar, Control. Moving to intercept.
Oh no! We're... Telemetry indicates this footage in.
Roger that, Control. We'll keep them off you.
This is McQuarrie. We're on him. Lead the way, sir. It's a pleasure to fight with you at last.
Omega lead, ejecting. Roger, Control. Omega, this is Control. We should lift off of the second dropship. Orders?
This is Forward 3. The gantries are retracting at Gamma launch site. They're at full power and counted down to lift. Salvage operation. This is Forward 1. You're running out of time. Target gamma is nearly powered up.
Take out the APU gantries as soon as possible. If the dropship gets powered up, it'll bring its main guns online. Omega Left, we're getting cargo secured. As soon as we're ready to lift, we need to get on board as quickly as possible. We're now tracking multiple targets inbound.
We've got them on radar, Control. Moving to intercept.
Oh no! We're... Telemetry indicates this footage in.
Roger that, Control. We'll keep them off you.
This is McQuarrie. We're on him. Lead the way, sir. It's a pleasure to fight with you at last.
Omega lead, ejecting. Roger, Control. Omega, this is Control. We should lift off of the second dropship. Orders?
This is Forward 3. The gantries are retracting at
Greetings, Mech Warriors, and welcome to this MRBC Season 9 Week 4 Division C matchup between Steel Union and 228th IBR Death from Above. I am Bandit B17, and with me, as always, is Mr. MDM0.
Hey guys, how's everyone doing tonight?
This should be a pretty exciting match. These two teams, obviously, Division C, Steel Union in the hunt for first place in the division. I think these guys are getting close to the halfway point now, so we're getting a really good picture as to Triggered Lord has group lead, apparently, just so you know.
Okay.
Getting a good idea of kind of where the division is stacked up after these teams all play each other once. And then after that... Okay, now it's Deathlord. I don't know what's going on.
I'm on it. I'm on it. I got you.
The people
Go
are
ahead.
poking me in TeamSpeak, so I'm like, what's going on here? We're getting a good picture, top to bottom, of what the division is looking like. Obviously, anything can happen in the second half of the season as these teams adapt with each other and are able to start coming up with opposing strats for the same maps that they already met on. A lot of times you'll see the gaps start to extend a little bit. The teams that have been winning will continue to win. The teams that have been losing will continue to lose. However, we have seen upsets, and we have seen comebacks, and we have seen growth in the past in other divisions and in this same division. And there's no reason to think that we're not going to see that again. Now, Steel Union and 228th Death from Above have not met on the battlefield yet this season, so we'll have to see how these two teams stack up against each other. Let's take a look at the overall standings in terms of statistics. Now, MD, what do we got for the actual league standings at the moment in Div C?
Right now, we have Div C being led on the NA side by Kong Interstellar Security Solutions. I love that name. At 12 drops won, 3 drops lost, 4,600 rep points. But just behind them, 125 rep points behind, is Steel Union. 12 drops won, 3 drops lost. The difference really there, I think, is in the mechs destroyed. If you go to the overall stats of the leaderboard, you can see that Kong right now has a little bit of an edge in the average match score, 244 to 230 for Steel Union, and then it kind of drops off a little bit. In the last 4 teams, a little closer together than those top 2, kind of pulling away right now 3 weeks into the season. 228 Death from Above actually started off quite well with a 4-1 victory over Eyes. Unfortunately, then with a 1-4 upset, I think you could say at this point in the season, against Blackthorn's Dragoons, kind of put them behind the 8 ball a little bit. And a tough draw, 2-3 against 54th Mechanized Regiment, has them sitting in 4th place right now, and they've got a little bit of ground to gain. They really need a good, strong match tonight in order to kind of close up on that. But at 7-8, 228 isn't impossibly far behind 12-3 for that first place, but they're going to have to start turning it around earlier rather than later, because they're going to need to get that win against Steel Union and then the win again when they play them the second time, if they can do that, to really take the advantage. But, like you said, we've seen teams grow. We've seen teams learn. And at the same time, Steel Union's a tough draw. They're playing very well right now.
Obviously, 228 kind of coming in on the underdog. Let's start with them on the statistics. I believe, from what I've heard, 228 might be a little undermanned in this particular matchup, just from talking to the unit leader. One of their light pilots is not going to be in this one, so that could potentially impact their ability in all drops, except for, of course, drop 3 potentially. We understand the value of a good light pilot. It is extremely valuable, even in the highest tonnage drops. Having good light pilots is key to victory. And that could potentially hurt 228 in this, but they are still fielding 8, and they hopefully will be able, for their sake, to adapt and overcome. We'll have to see how that goes. How are we looking at the pilots here?
And I just want to add on real quick to that, another look at the stats here. Being down a light pilot, as we've heard from 228, they honestly struggle a little bit in their lighter drops. They haven't won a drop 1 yet in their first 3 matches, and their drops 2 and 3, they've only won 1 of the 3. It's drops 4 and 5, those heavier drops, that they're a little better at. So that might help them out a little bit. Going into the pilot overview, however, we see really fairly even across the board. Iron Kilo and Dom 925 with the highest average match score at basically 228 even on the dot for both of them. And then, the other folks, 214 respectable, and then a good grouping in the 160, 170, 150 range of these pilots. Actually a fairly even spread. Some of these teams you'll see have 1 or 2 players really putting the edge, giving the edge to their team. Marine Mech's obviously no exception there. Thank you, Bear Claw. But, pretty even spread across the board right now for 228 on pilots. Maybe looking for 1 or 2 guys to step up and make that difference. Sometimes you need that on a team. You need some of those players to really push out and be the strong players for you.
Absolutely. And then taking a look over at Steel Union, obviously in the hunt for first place, they've got Kong sitting in front of them, and I believe they have played Kong already, right?
Let's take a quick look here. Steel Union has played Kong, and they lost 3-2 on the first match of the season. Very close.
Oh, wow. Right out of the gate.
Yeah, right out of the gate. That's going to be a great rematch there. We might have to try and grab that.
Absolutely.
Take a look at their pilots here, and here we can kind of see, okay, JD Toker and Deathlord are kind of the 2 strongest pilots, it appears right now. Stats averaging 380 and 350 damage, and I flip those around. Deathlord with 380. And average match scores in the high 200s. It's also pretty darn good, and considering, again, this is an 8v8 situation, you really take those average damages, average match score is a little different, but average damage, you could basically say that's about 2/3 what it would be in a 12v12 public queue sort of match. So 380, says puts you on the 500 range, a little above that. And damage, that's respectable, especially for an organized competitive play. So playing pretty strong there. Both of those with 15 matches. Obviously, they're riding those guys well, and as they should, take their best players and try and get in there and take first place away from Kong. Right now, I think they've got to be happy with where they're sitting.
Absolutely. I think Steel Union they've got 5-0 on the brain right now, but 228th, they're looking to get an upset here. And I think you could straight up call, based on the standings thus far, that if 228th comes away with the win in this match, it would absolutely be an upset, and it will not only put 228th back on the board and back in the hunt going into the second half of the season, but Steel Union is going to have that much larger of a climb to try and overcome Kong. Anything can happen in week 1, though. I mean, everybody's untested, everybody's unsure of how their roster is, and usually we see week 1 matches go all over the place. And when you've got a week 1 match that is up against pretty much the division leader right off the bat, it can be rough for both teams, to be fair. I mean, it was an extremely close match. It did come away as a win for Kong. But who knows? Maybe Kong will pull away in their rematch. Who knows? Steel Union might be able to overcome and come away with a win in week 6. So that is going to be exciting to watch.
Yeah, just taking a look at the that matchup, the opening week, Kong versus Steel Union. Kong taking 1,300 rep points to 975, so a little bit of a discrepancy there. But honestly, a 3-2 match, no matter how you put it, is close. Kong did pick up a couple bonuses in there, and Steel Union picked up 1 bonus in their winning drop 1 and winning the bonus and drop 2, I should say. So, a little bit of discrepancy there in the rep points, but still very, very close. And like I said, week 1, these teams are still learning, growing. Neither Steel Union or 228 have participated in Division C before, so this is a new experience for them as well. And, they've got another shot at it. That's the thing I think that I really enjoy about these 6-team divisions, getting 2 shots. You can see, all right, you might have had a tough week. I think 228
map side dependent too. I mean,
it could have been map side dependent as well.
And some teams play better on some sides than others. So
yeah,
it's the fairest way to do it is double round robin and allow them to play on both sides.
Yeah, and I would have to say, 228 probably looking at that match against Blackthorn's Dragoons and saying, man, if we had played a little bit better there, this could be a completely different matchup. They're going to get another opportunity to do that, and really for them, it all starts tonight, and we're going to have to see how they do.
Absolutely. And by now, you guys know me as a caster, and you know what I like. And I like 3-2 decisions. No matter which way it goes, I like a good, close, exciting fight. With that said, 228 kind of coming in as the underdogs. I also like a good upset. I have no preferences to either of these teams. I enjoy the company of people on both sides and chat them up all the time. They're great people. But a good old upset will be exciting as well if it occurs. But Steel is out to not let that happen. So both teams getting in lobby and getting readied up right now. Quick note, I do have my giveaway tool active. Anybody that participates in chat at any point during the stream, so don't do the exclamation point raffle, but just talk, say something. Hype up your favorite team, anything, just say something. You will be entered into the drawings. We'll have 3 drawings today for Premium Time, for Mech Bay, and then, of course, for 500 MC. So make sure you guys get hyped in chat. Another quick note, I am trying something a little different today. I have upped my bitrate because of Twitch's new recommendations. So we're going to see whether or not that increased bitrate adds to the quality of the stream at all. If it causes any issues like buffering or anything like that, definitely let me know so I can lower it. And I should be able to lower it in the middle of the stream without any issues. But of course, drop 1 on Grim Plexus, Domination. This is the only Domination map for the match. We are going to be in Grim Plexus with 4 lights, 4 mediums, 0 heavies, 0 assaults, no streaks allowed. This is the lightest drop in the entire series. It will be a very intense brawl. So try and keep up as we head in. Take a look.
Grim Plexus is a little bit of a weird light domination battle. It's very easy to get that center point, but at the same time, center point's not a great spot to fight. And so it's very interesting to watch people try and use their maneuverability both to hold the domination circle and at the same time avoid fighting in the domination circle.
All right, both teams are landing now, and we're looking at 228th IBR with an adder. Interesting to see the build of that adder.
And it looks like they've called a hold right now. Might have had a little bit of a connection problem.
Hopefully they can figure that out. Both teams are holding in place. If that pilot comes back, they will be able to then call a time on the clock.
Looks like they will be going at 14:30.
This is a 4 SRM-6 adder in use on the field. SRMs coming from the Jenner 2C. They opted to not go with the small pulse build. They also have a Hunchback 2CA. Is this large pulses? 2 large pulse, 6 small pulse, so a little Overwatch capability. Griffin 2N
That's very
with the
interesting.
Flamers and the 4 SRM-6s. And of course, dual Novas with 10 small pulse apiece. What do we have on the stun side?
So we have a very similar deck, dual Novas, Locust, Jenner 2C with small pulse instead of the SRMs, an Ice Ferret, and an Arctic Cheetah. So a little bit of an interesting build there, and then they've added the Spider with the machine gun large pulse, which is a solid mech, good Overwatch, and can really tear some mechs up at the end with those machine guns. Here's the interesting thing. Hunchback 2C, small pulse, and 2 ER larges.
Whoa.
Going to be very interesting to see how that plays on this drop. I feel like the DPS is going to hurt them. I mean, these are very light. It's easy to close range, and right now, 228 should see those ER larges coming out.
Yep, coming into that Hunchback 2C. So with a little bit of Overwatch on both sides, that ER large definitely has a range advantage, but it also has a heat disadvantage. So it would be good for 228, I would think, to push that Overwatch mech and just treat it as if they're a mech down. I mean, that ER large, even if left alone, isn't going to be able to put that much damage out in a short period of time, especially on a drop that is this light. It is very fast, very intense, and
looks like
the worst thing they
is
could do,
making a move.
The worst thing 228 can do is just sit there and take it, because it's allowing that ER large to do work. But it looks, like you said, that they are heading out.
And that's the right move, because those ER larges are going to be a weakness in this fight. They can't let them get the damage up, and it looks like that's what they're doing. They're getting in there, being a little more aggressive, getting ready to push.
At the very least, they got their Hunchback up into large pulse range, and he's starting to toss shots right back into that ER large mech. But here we go. Little bit of a
the Jenner 2C is not
here.
looking. Oh, no. The Steel Jenner 2C just took a shot from that adder right in the back.
Down to 77%. If they can get a light mech down early, that would be huge. But he is booking it out of here, and the brawl has begun. They're marching their way up the cliff right now. And 228 has a majority of their force in there. Looks like they've called the Nova as a focus here, down to 84%. One of the stun mechs goes down, actually, the Hunchback 2C. And
I agree with that call.
On the other side goes down as well. A lot of mechs dying on both sides.
Nova just went down for Steel.
Iron Kilo right in the middle of it there. He's getting focused down by stun now. Looks like he's been legged, and they are working down that other leg. But so far, 228 is up by 1 mech. That just evened it up, 2 down on both sides, but stun loses 1 as well.
That's the second Nova. These are powerful mechs. That losing those is going to hurt.
There's an Ice Ferret still on the field for stun, but he's down to 52%. He's putting out shots into Dom in the Nova for 228, who is legged. They just got him down, and that evened it up again. But that Ice Ferret is not long for this world. He goes down as well. 228 is just staying 1 step ahead of Steiner here, but they're about to lose their Nova as well.
Their Nova is legged, and down he goes, but they've just taken down the last medium.
This could potentially turn into like a 7-8. It's so close right now. Looks like clear comms, and that Archie
right
is
now.
leg. That is brutal. That's going to be really good for 228. They're able to take him down. Last one remaining is the Locust for Steiner. If he can
228's going to pick up their first drop 1 victory at this rate. I don't think this Locust has the firepower to take down these 3 mechs.
Down to 49%. He's going to be going down really quick. Oh, he gets caught on terrain, but is able to zip out of there. But they are right on him with those SRMs. I don't know if ammunition might become an issue here. Oh, he gets
the Jenner
2C
legged. This Arctic Cheetah's going to have to back him up.
One thing that is... Oh, well, never mind.
Oh, he legged him. Good shot by the Arctic Cheetah.
Gets and he takes him down. So an 8-5 victory for 228. Death from above. What a good start for them. And
yeah, that's exactly what the doctor ordered there.
They obviously pick up the bonus, but Steiner able to pull off 5 kills, and they get the bonus as well. So they are right with them.
Good call by 228, recognizing the ER larges coming out of there on Death Lord on that Hunchback 2C. If I were Steel Union, I'd go back and look at that. That large pulse, Hunchback 2C, very effective. ER large, clan ER larges are just not in a good place right now. Unfortunately, they burn too long, and the DPS is just lousy for the heat that you're putting out.
I mean, he was still able to pull 215 damage, which for a medium is relatively respectable. However,
Yeah.
I'm willing to bet that a lot of that damage was spread. A lot of it at extreme ranges, probably hitting every inch of a mech. I mean, I was looking at Iron Kilo in the opposing large pulse Hunchback 2C, and no particular part of his armor was in peril. It was just spread on every inch of his body. So a lot of that 215 doesn't look like it was really placed effectively. But then
that's hard to do on those Overwatch mechs, especially when they're sitting back and kind of behind cover, or even on the approach. It's hard to get the right components as they're coming in trying to spread that damage. I will say great job by 228. The other 3 mediums for Steel all held under 100 damage. That is a sure sign of good focus fire, good priority calling, taking those mediums with the higher firepower down first, getting that advantage. It was close, but they managed to pull it out at the end there.
Excellent. Well done, 228. Great start for them, of course. But Steel Union still picking up 175 rep. Obviously, the maximum rep in a drop is 350 with the bonus. But with the 5 kills picking up 125 rep and then the bonus of 50 puts them still in the hunt. So in drop 2, we could see this easily swing the other way. Drop 2, of course, Frozen City Conquest. So we're getting out of that domination map mode, and we're getting into higher tonnages, which significantly slows the fight down. We will have to see how that impacts it. But let's go back to the replay, see if we can catch some of that hot mess whipping around there. It is very hard to call drop 1s just because there's so much going on.
And that Jenner 2C in the beginning, I think, also hurt Steel. He was looking the wrong direction when 228 came around the corner, took a shot to the back. He's lucky he didn't die on that initial shot that he took to the back there. That would have really put Steel in a tough place.
And surprisingly, SRM's beating out small pulse lasers. I believe 228 was running a lot of the SRM splatter.
Yeah, Steel was running the small pulse.
And they seem to be placing them a lot better than those small pulse lasers. I mean, obviously, a small pulse is reliant on that pinpoint damage and to take out components. But SRMs have a little bit more of a spread, but if placed effectively or if just pressed up against your target and you pull the trigger, it's able to do some great work. And there's that Jenner 2C getting slammed right off the bat. He does get out, but then immediately 228 in a nice tight ball there. Looks like they split to 2 separate targets. One of them on that Overwatch ER large mech. I don't even know if I would have necessarily gone for that ER large mech right off the bat.
Yeah, I might have left him.
Because he would have been.
He did have small pulse.
All right, well, I guess that's not a bad call.
It was 6 small pulse.
Obviously,
it's not a bad call.
Fine. But yeah, taking him out and then immediately also taking out the Nova and holding the Novas down under 100 damage apiece. Very good. I mean, you got to think when you've got like 10 or so small pulse lasers, you should be able to do 100 damage really in like
and a couple trigger pulls.
And not getting that 100, especially when you're not the first one, like Dom here going. Oh well, he's on 228, but the other Nova pilot for stun should have been able to at least pulled out at 100 or more. So those guys are gonna have to try and figure out what went on. Was it just not in a good position? Was it elevation? What caused him to not be able, in that short amount of time, pull at least 100? And that would be a very valuable fix there. But
did you catch the build on that Ice Ferret? I believe that would be what standard
pulses.
5 small pulse, 6 small pulse.
I think it was probably 5 or 6, probably 5.
I think it's 5 small pulses a standard.
Yeah. But overall, 228 just seemed to always be 1 mech ahead of Steel Union. And then right at the end there with that legged cheetah on Steel Union, it pulled away and they were able to keep 3 of their mechs alive. And they were very close to taking out that Jenner too. I mean, they could have pulled out a 6th kill. It was just out of their reach. So well played 228 right out of the gate. Are they going to be able to carry that momentum, or is the weight shift going to start throwing this back in favor of Steel Union? We'll have to
Like we
watch
said in
and
the
find
opening, 228 has played better in their heavier drops than they have in the light drops. So if that holds true tonight, that's a very good sign for them. It's exactly what they need. On the other hand, Steel, maybe just a little bit of a hiccup. Obviously, they're having a good season so far, so you would expect them to be able to do that. Drop 1 is a weaker, quote-unquote, drop for them. When you have only 3 losses, it's hard to define what exactly is weak, but one of their 3 losses did come on Drop 1. They definitely tend to do worse in Drop 1 in terms of average match score and average damage, but again, at the same time, not a lot of damage to be had in a 4 light, 4 medium drop, so maybe a little bit of strength on strength as we go later on into these drops.
I'd be really interested to see how that looked with the higher bitrate. I'm really hoping that it's a little bit clearer for our viewers, especially with the heavy movement. So we'll have to see what the feedback comes back. I'm kind of excited because if it works, I got better internet, so I can pull this amount of bitrate without any hiccups. So we got 300 down, 20 up.
I wish I knew what better internet was like.
Yeah, especially last night in our drops. That would have been nice to have
that would have been nice.
Reliable internet. But of course, Drop 2 Frozen City on Conquest. I probably shouldn't minimize you because that makes you stall there. You were just like this. 2 lights.
As long as you got my good side.
I got your good side. 2 lights,
Thank
4 mediums, 2 heavies, 0 assaults on Conquest. So a bit heavier drop, but still relatively fast moving. Brawling is still possible here, but Frozen City traditionally lends to a more pokey, long-range build. I think the speed of the mechs, though, can really
this
support a brawl as well.
Definitely lends to a brawl in this, and we've been seeing in Drop 2 week 4, we've been seeing some brawls coming out from a bunch of teams on this Frozen City. There's enough cover in an organized manner to get up fairly close without taking too much damage on that brawl. At the same time, a ranged team can set up pretty effectively to receive that. So it's a toss-up taking a brawl deck, but if you feel like that's the strength of your team, it's definitely doable. And sometimes it's not worth doing a weaker strategy that might suit the map a little bit better than doing what you're best at.
Obviously, with lighter mechs means less armor, but speed can be your ally. You can potentially juke off. I mean, if you get the opposing team to pound PPCs into the dirt, you're already saving your team quite a bit of pain, because that's heat wasted and that's distance gained. I mean, this is a game of inches, and every PPC that you can juke gets you that much closer before getting cored out potentially. So if you play it right. Now, I've seen people in mediums just run straight forward and just get wrecked.
Yeah,
that's separating the men from the boys when it comes to a brawl charge into a range concave. But I have seen Frozen City played many different ways so far. This seems to be a relatively viable map. Little bit of a Team 1
the Team 1 cap strat advantage.
For cap strats, yes, because Team 1 seems like they're able to take Theta and protect it a little bit easier than Team 2. Not saying that that's a constant. I mean, anything can happen. I've just seen it trend a little bit in that direction. And, of course, that's where double round robin comes in handy, because if that's the case, both teams will have the option to exploit that imbalance if it exists. Some people say, nah, it's not that big of a deal. Whatever. I've seen Team 2s win on this map as well. Sometimes it comes down to a really good rotation. If you can take that better side of the map from the enemy team without sacrificing a lot to get there, more power to you. But we have seen a lot of map control strategies used in this, if it doesn't just de-evolve straight into a big monster.
And I think, like we talked about, that changes with the tonnage of the drop too. Lighter drops, the Theta advantage, probably not as big of a deal because you have the mobility to kind of work those caps and be a little more aggressive and still be able to get out of trouble if you get in trouble. On those heavier drops, that Theta advantage can be a big deal. If you can grab the quick Theta cap and then you've got a lot of firepower overwatching Theta, trading. You're not as maneuverable. You can't get around to the caps quite as easily. So it's got its give and takes, but it definitely, in my opinion, is a fun map to play.
Of course, there is only one way to find out how this is all going to play out, and that is to take a look.
Seeing some talk in chat. Should have gotten that Jenner right from the start. Exactly. That Jenner was in a world of trouble.
Absolutely.
And managed to get out of it. Unfortunately, Steel wasn't able to pull that game out. But
I don't know if they were looking at that locust coming around their left flank.
I'm not sure.
Because there was one locust. I was kind
of
of keeping one eye on him. I'm like, oh, he's getting kind of out there. That one locust coming in from the side. And I'm wondering if that might have provided enough of a distraction to really turn their backs to him. And that could have, I don't know if it was intentional, but that could have really given 228 the start that they needed.
Yeah, and it's entirely possible that Jenner just got distracted for just a moment, looking over, and it just happened to be the wrong moment. Luckily, like you said, didn't end too poorly in that instant for the Jenner, but you never want to be taking that much damage right off the bat, especially without putting any damage downfield.
All right, taking a look here at 228 IBR, Death from Above. We have a Grasshopper right off the bat. Build 5 ER large lasers. On the Nova Prime, 10 small pulse, so they do have a little bit of brawl protection. Night Gear, Gauss, 2 ER PPCs. Now, the Night Gear does not gain any benefit from the cold map. That's the quirk about it. It has laser heat sinks. However, the reason for taking 2 ER PPCs and 1 Gauss over 2 Gauss and 1 ER PPC is because of the extreme range that those ER PPCs net you. So 228 is definitely looking to trade long range. What do we have on stun? They're doing an interesting movement here.
They've got a dual Gauss PPC Night Gear, a dual PPC Nova, a dual UAC 10 Hunchback. That's a little bit different. And then they've got a large pulse medium laser Warhammer, and what is this Hunchback running? Oh, this is the dual UAC 10. Maybe the other Hunchback is PPCs. Let me go back and check him.
On the other
okay,
Hunchback.
So they've got a UAC 10 Hunchback and a Warhammer with large pulse and mediums now moving onto the opposite side of Theta. Trying to see if they can get an angle.
They do have an Ice Ferret and an Arctic Cheetah.
They do. They've got a little bit of small
and then, of course, the Nova with 2 ER PPCs for stun. So interesting to note. I mean, Steiner Elite here, stun, coming from their side of the map and giving up what some people would consider being the stronger side of the map to cross and fight over the dropship. I don't think I've seen this all season.
No,
so far.
I don't think I've seen this strat either. And 228 is not caught by surprise at all here. I honestly think that Hunchback might have tried to get a couple shots in when they weren't paying attention and basically alerted them to the fact that they were moving over that way. All of Stun's now rotated over, trying to get the 3 cap, but they've got lights in 228 back capping on them.
I'm not too much of a fan here of what Stun did. They're eventually going to have to be aggressive here because they have given up map control. Now, it seems like the lights for 228 are a little bit cautious about going in and capping Gamma.
And that Warhammer is at 67%. Out of the fight.
If those lights go to cap Gamma and Stun decides to push 8v6, that might give them the advantage they're looking for here.
I think Stun has a little bit better of a deck at these mid-ranges, kind of working the buildings, but they've got to be a little more aggressive than this. There's not a lot of mechs putting fire downfield for Stun right now.
Stun seems to be getting beat up quite a bit. You can tell the 228 lights are like, should we go cap or should we come back? And they're actually opting to come back. Looks like they might be, at least the Spider is watching those lights come in. It could be a side fight here with the lights, but Stun stagnation, I think, is costing them a lot of armor here.
It is costing
and I really
them.
think 228 has a superior position with that dropship because they can peek up in many different areas. And this is a lot of side peeking for like a Hunchback. Side peeking on a Hunchback, it's not built for that. It's meant for hill peeking or pop-tarting. And peeking sideways around a building really exposes quite a bit of your mech. And I think
this is like old school Frozen City here.
That's complementing the Hunchbacks for 228 quite a bit more than it is Stun, and I think this could end up costing Stun the match. Now, with that said, 3-2 caps in favor of Stun right now. That might be why they think this is a good idea to hold this, but they can lose that cap at any point.
Yeah, and the Locust for 228 is going off to Gamma. So they've committed only one light. I think they recognize that both lights are with Stun's main body right now, so they can send one light and do all the back capping that they need to do.
And the Locust is definitely the one to send to Gamma because he could potentially get back to the fight very quickly if Stun decides to make their push. But no movement from them so far. A little bit of a movement off to the right side, but so far it's just been pure hemorrhage on Stun. And
so
that
I see
light's
Iron
get back
Kilo
here
for 228
easily.
at 54%. Normally with those Hunchbacks, you see them lose their arms, and that puts them really low on the percentage. It's very deceptive. Iron Kilo actually has lost a torso, so he's cut his firepower in half. Most damaged mech for 228 right now.
Deceit in that Warhammer 60 with the 3 large pulse, 3 medium lasers, open left and right torso, most likely bring an XL engine on that. He's right up in the front, and Daihalto in that Hunchback 2C has his number every time he peeks.
And the lights and the Ice Ferret are jumping on the Night Gear, and he goes down. Got a little too aggressive there. And now here comes the Arctic Cheetah moving up, but I don't think he wants to move up and engage. There's 3 light mechs. Well, there's 2 light mechs
and
an
an
Ice Ferret.
Yep. That is something that could end up throwing this for 228 is if they lose their lights. I mean, right now, obviously the Locust is still capping
back a little bit, it looks like.
But
Grasshopper is kind of out on his own right now on the side of the dropship. But still not
there it
really
is.
punching for
Daihalto had Deceit's number the entire time and finally made a good connection to take him out. So the Warhammer 60 goes down to Daihalto in that dual ERPPC Hunchback 2C, and looks like we've got a little bit of a movement.
Yeah,
We've realized
that
that trades are not going well here. And Fango, Nova coming right up the front here, trying to get some shots in on Daihalto. They've got him on the run. The Spider is right on him. The Locust had enough time to get back to the fight. Daihalto goes down, and 3 dead for 228. Stun is actually getting some kills here on this push. The lights are doing a fantastic job as well as
the
that
lights
Ice
are
Ferret.
distracting.
But it looks like the 228 lights are getting in on that Ice Ferret. If they can take him down quickly enough, that is going to be really good for 228. But they've already lost 4 mechs on that push. That fell apart really, really quickly.
Yeah, that did.
Looks like the lights are getting off the Ice Ferret. JD Toker takes down Damon Wolf in the Arctic Cheetah, and that just went sour incredibly quick for 228. Now, they do still have the cap advantage, but they need to still take out the lights for Stun, and they haven't done it. That Locust needs to try and stay alive and just try and prevent them from taking a cap back. It's the only way he's going to come away with this. Either that or go try to take out that Hunchback 2C for the extra reputation if they don't feel like they're going to come away with the win here. But I really thought that that was going very well for 228, and then that push just caught 228 completely off guard, and they lost so many mechs very quickly.
This Arctic Cheetah for Stun, right before that push, moved up aggressively, got the kill on the Night Gyre, and then continued to move up. The Grasshopper, the Stormcrow, and I believe one of the lights for 228 were all basically trying to engage this Arctic Cheetah at the moment when Stun pushed over. So they had 3 mechs tied up on this light mech kind of in the backfield, not able to respond to the push.
Cheetah is going to be huge here if JD can close the distance. Night Fox is juking too much, and it's costing him speed, and that Cheetah is gaining ground on him. Too much Serpentine is going to slow him down. JD Toker can come straight at him, and he gets the leg. Now, well, it looks like it's still going to go in favor of Stun here, but if that Locust went straight away and got away fast enough, he could have fought over Gamma and potentially come up with the win. But too much shaking back and forth. The Cheetah able to just bear down
that was close
and cut him down, and that was very close. With the 4 cap there, if 228 was able to hold out just a little bit longer, they could have at the very least come away with the cap win. That was really close on the clock.
That, honestly, I think that Arctic Cheetah won it for Stun, like I said, basically distracting 3 mechs at a critical moment when that push came. They weren't able to help out. Sure, they had the armor advantage. Stun was a little more hurt, but not having 3 of your mechs in that combat, it basically gave Stun a 2 mech advantage on that push, and that can overcome that armor differential.
On top of that, the first guy to pretty much go down on the stun push was Daihalto, the top damage dealer for 228, taking him out, clearly making a big impact in favor of Stun.
Yeah, that like you said, I think you can best describe it as that went sour very quickly for 228. It's tough to see because they really did have, I think, the better position, the better advantage. Maybe just got a little too distracted by that light mech. A lot of times you've just got to say, you know what, whoever your light pilot is, go deal with this guy, tie him up, try and kill him if you can, stay alive. We're going to let you handle him on your own because we've got bigger fish to fry, and unfortunately, that's not what 228 did, and it cost them.
How many did 228 manage to kill?
They managed to kill 3.
Okay, no bonus
and
for
that's
them.
Tough.
And that
that's
is
real
tough because that puts it right back in favor of Steel Union by 100 rep. 525 to 425. That was a very rough showing right there.
And especially with how damaged some of those mechs were, you have those other 2 mechs in the fight, and suddenly that's, I think, an entirely different game.
Absolutely. We're going to definitely have to go back and check out the replay on this one. I still did not like Stun's position.
No.
I really didn't. But having 2 lights and an Ice Ferret, once the push happened, that definitely was a bit of a trump card. All 3 of them were very fresh. The looks like the Locust is still at Epsilon at this point. Right when Deceit goes down, I think that's when they made their move. I'm trying to look up on that left side. Looks like the Cheetah's getting right up in there.
Yeah.
And you can actually see him turning around. He must have been calling that they got him turned. Spider going right up the gut. We got a heavy push
and the
up
Grasshopper
right side.
and the Stormcrow are chasing after that Cheetah as this push occurs.
Man,
they were not in a position to receive that.
I want to see what happens to this Nova, because that Nova with the small pulses would have been huge on this push. And he turned his back. He turned his back to their entire team. So you've got your Brawl protection. Goes after the first guy that jumps over his head and turns his back to 3 other mechs and gets taken down immediately. Yeah. You cannot let that happen. That Nova definitely cost them quite a bit of protection on that push.
You put your back against the wall.
You get tunnel vision on one guy. You get tunnel vision on one guy, and that can cost you. He had no help from the rest of his team. A, they were being distracted by the Arctic Cheetah, and B, he was still in saddle. He actually pushed up to saddle to receive, and unfortunately that position, the rest of his team cannot support him there. Nobody can get shots in there, so all 4 of those mechs in saddle, able to just wail on that Nova unopposed. And that is basically tossing that mech right into the garbage chute.
Yeah, and a great comment here in chat. Stun isolating mechs very well. That's effectively what they did. They split, they divide and conquer.
Absolutely. That Nova, his entire existence was to protect against the push. And unfortunately, that fell apart really quick. But then, even still, the cap game was incredibly close due to that Locust. But then, as we can see here, dodging the PPCs, but a little bit too much twisting and grinding here, and that Cheetah just able to come full on and just cut him in half and get the leg. Not enough speed coming out of that Locust. Too much twisting. If he was able to stay alive and, potentially harass Gamma and not allow them the neutralization, he would have had to have done it for maybe 25 seconds, maybe 35 seconds. It's hard to say.
35 seconds.
35 seconds about. That would not have been easy, especially since he sliver-capped Gamma. He sliver-capped Gamma, so it only took that Arctic Cheetah a split second to flip it. But it wasn't impossible, especially if he was able to gain a little bit of distance on that run. But now they're looking back at the hesitation of the lights. They're like, oh man, they could come in at any moment. We should stay close. We should stay close.
Yeah.
If they sent that Locust right off the bat to get those 2 caps, that alone.
Well,
could have
they
made up that
recalled the
35
lights.
tickets.
When they recalled the lights, they were almost at Gamma. So they basically had already gone there.
Yeah.
And then didn't
They
cap
turned them
it.
around to get back. And that's, I can't say that that's a horrible thing because you need to have your lights there if the push happens. But I'd liked them sending just the Locust to do it because they're not losing as much. You don't need 2 people running that way. And once they realized that both of the lights for stun were present, you can have the one guy go do that. But if that guy did that any sooner, that would have been your 35 tickets. Maybe stun would have pushed sooner, but anything could have happened differently. We're nitpicking. Hindsight's 20/20.
But in these matches, that's the difference between a win and a loss most of the time is just
Absolutely.
the little, tiny little things. And that's what makes competitive play so exciting, right? I mean, you can say, oh, well, you know, one team just smashed the other because they're much better. But when you get these matches like this where you say, you know what? Yeah, that was an 8-3 win for Steel. But at the same time, here's the 1 or 2 different things that 228 could have done. 1 or 2 seconds different, 5 seconds longer here. You know, stayed a little bit, you know, away from that cheetah for just a little bit longer, and they would have won that match. And that's what competitive play is all about. Those tiny little differences that takes a win and makes it a loss, or a loss and makes it a win.
And really, that's the thing is, from a casting standpoint, we can say, oh, well, they should have done this. We might be wrong, too. I mean, we're losers also. I mean, let's just be fair.
That hurts. But we also get the benefit of the doubt, right? We can see what's going on.
Exactly.
We've been
The
here
biggest
before.
thing is that I can sit here and I can say, if this happened, it might have been different. I can't say they should have done this because that could have caused more problems. So it's really up to those team leaders to look at the film and decide for themselves if they could have made improvements in certain areas. Take everything we say with a grain of salt, but we can say that if that Locust capped those 2 caps earlier, that would have made up.
It would have made it closer.
It would have definitely.
If the rest of the game had played out the way that it did, it would have made it closer.
Exactly, and it seemed like Stun's push was almost on cue for that Warhammer going down. Daihalto had him pinned, took him out, and almost instantaneously when that Warhammer fell, I saw mechs mobilizing. I don't know if maybe they mobilized and that got the Warhammer killed, or if they mobilized because the Warhammer got killed. But that is just what we saw, so maybe the timing of that would have been the same. Because seeing those caps falling, sometimes we say, okay, well, when the light goes in caps, we'll see like an instantaneous push because that means the light's not in the fight, which happens. We didn't see that happen here. We did not see Stun reacting to that light not being present. So, hard to say. It is definitely hard to say. But with that said, me dropping my controller all over the place. Drop 3, with it tied up 1-1, of course, which makes me happy.
That's what we like to see.
Drop 3, Canyon Network on Conquest. Much smaller map than Frozen City. Very competitive map, though. No lights. 3 mediums, 4 heavies, 1 assault. The assault has to be an 85-ton mech, and that is the Commander mech, which plays into the bonus for Commander Assassination. If you can keep your Commander alive and kill theirs, you'll get an additional 50 reputation. Both teams are in lobby and slowly getting readied up. So what do you think we're going to be seeing on Canyon Network?
I think it was kind of interesting that we saw both teams bring primarily a trade deck on Frozen City. Obviously, it's a big map. It lends itself well to trading, like we talked about in the opening. Canyon Network is a pretty popular trade map, too, just because of how hard it can be to navigate with the canyons if you don't have jump jets, and as a drop that doesn't have light mechs, as a little bit of a heavier drop, it might be harder to fit some jump jets onto your mechs in the first place. So it could be a trade deck. I just, frankly, I like seeing the trade decks, especially in these lower tiers, because very often we see teams bring a brawl deck, and there's nothing wrong with that. Brawling, in my opinion, is the right path to start for newer teams, for teams that want to learn how to work together and get better. Trading relies a little bit more on individual skill, on average, I would say, than brawling does. Brawling is much more of a cohesion, coordination, focus fire, move together strat. So I like seeing these teams who have a little bit of competitive experience. We've seen Steel, I believe they were played through MWO World Championships. They've been in MRBC before, and so has 228 been in. Obviously, 228's been everywhere, but 228 Death from Above has played in MRBC before. I don't know if they played World Championships as well, but they have some competitive experience, but it's still good to see them do these trading things. So I kind of hope they trade on Canyon Network. It's fun to see these teams do that, to learn how to do that, and to get better at doing it, because ultimately, if you want to make it to the top level, you have to be able to trade, you have to be able to brawl, you have to be able to do everything. And so there's no better way to learn than to do it.
So on this map, sometimes we'll see an Epsilon corner push that's definitely viable. You can actually see that coming both ways. Usually they'll lead with a light or something to at least look around the corner to see what's coming. Scouting in this map can be extremely valuable. If you can see a brawl push coming early, you can set up for it, and that can make the difference between a win or a loss. Remember the World Championship? Of course, this map, 2 lights, 2 mediums, 2 heavies, 2 assaults. Time and time again, we'll see somebody blind pushing Epsilon corner without any sort of scout looking ahead, right into a brawl push coming the other way, and they'll just get rolled. Especially the guys who send their Overwatch and their ranged mechs up to Epsilon corner right into an SRM brawl. And it's like, well, that one's over before it starts. Scouting would have solved that problem. You just have to know where to send them. Sometimes sending the scouts ahead of your main body is good. Sometimes sending them behind your main body is good. And that's why it's nice to have lights. However, on this drop, with no lights, you either have to take fast mediums or you go blind. That's a risk, but it could pay off.
And one of my favorite sayings that I've done in previous casts, and to be honest, now that I think about it, I haven't done it much this season at MRBC, but I'll say it now. This is infotech. Forget all that stuff in the past, the PTSs, etc. Scouting is infotech, and in competitive play, scouting is absolutely one of the most important things that you can do. If you don't know what the other team's doing, where they are, and how to react or how to adjust accordingly, you will not win the majority of your matches in competitive play. If you don't have that information, if you just say, we're going to do this, we're going to go here, and we're going to hope that it works out, that is a recipe for disaster 9 times out of 10 in competitive play. Information is key in this style of play in MMWO, and it makes it all the much more enjoyable, in my opinion.
Absolutely. So what you're seeing me slowly draw here, this is generally the field of play in Canyon Network. You don't usually see a lot of heavy mechs around the Kappa region. More often than not, that's where you'll see fast mediums, or you'll see light fights if there are lights available. So most of it is trended towards the Epsilon corner or around Theta or into those the Death Valley area more often than not. So it isn't exactly a symmetrical map as you might think, just because of the way Epsilon corner is built with its high cover and things like that. But at the same time, you know, it is generally symmetrical top to bottom. I mean, there's different ways to approach it from each side, but this is a very balanced map, and it's incredibly fun to watch. But what's going to happen on this one with these two teams, there's only one way to find out. That's to take a look. All right, Canyon Network. No drop ships on this one.
Hello, my old friend.
0 lights, 3 mediums, 4 heavies, and an 85-ton assault. 228th opting for the Marauder 2C with 2 large pulse lasers and 6 ER medium lasers. They have a Timber with large pulse, ER PPC, and 2 Gauss rifles. for the Night Gear. So obviously, much smaller map. The dual Gauss starts to win out over the dual PPC variant of the Night Gear. 228 has brought a Viper who is immediately contesting Kappa. What do we have on the stun side?
Stun has a mixed deck. They have dual SRM Summoners and SRM Brawler Timberwolf, UAC Marauder 2C, and an SRM Griffin. To go along with that, they've got a PPC Hunchback 2C, a dual Gauss PPC Night Gear, and a PPC Nova, I believe. So a half. Yeah, that's a half deck, and like I said, dual mech, the Brawler Summoners getting a little bit of fire around Epsilon Corner with some range builds, but they've got to find a way to get their other half of their team in range to do damage.
So they moved up to that Epsilon Corner. They have not capped it, so cap advantage is currently for 228 with a 2-1 cap. Map control, kind of hard to say at this point. Everybody's pretty evenly spread out, but I would say that 228 has a bigger spread, especially with that Viper. If he chooses to maybe back cap Gamma, he could probably do it relatively easy. The only contender, of course, Soviet Armada here in that Hunchback 2CA.
And he does see him getting some
downfield.
shots on him, so he's aware that they're on that corner. But again, Steel's going to have to find a way to get the other half of their team involved here. And the Summoners taking fire. They're pushing up towards Theta, so that the gig is over, right? They know that they have that Brawl deck. It's just a matter of whether they can close without taking too much damage.
Well, they've dropped into Death Valley. They're moving up to the Theta region, which is not a bad idea. Of course, leading with that Brawl Summoner. He is going to start getting hit here. 228 needs to step forward and start getting shots in, because if he's able to move over unopposed, he's going to have problems. But he is down to 73%. Looks like they're going legs on him. His left leg is one shot. If they can pop that leg and get him stranded in the middle of a field of fire, that's going to be huge.
The Summoners are starting to close, though.
He is definitely getting right up on them, and he's actually starting to protect himself a little bit. 228 is reeling at this point, trying to rotate out. The Night Gear is getting caught in the valley. His team needs to provide him a little bit more cover. They're starting to pull back and abandon him, but that brave Timberwolf stepping up to cover his teammate, getting his laser fire into Fango in that Summoner.
But here comes the Summoner coming, jumping in right on top of them.
There's that SRM
Summoner. Fire that Night Gear, but that Summoner's ahead.
They're going legs on him as well. Really good leg efforts here by 228. If they can seal the deal on him too, that'll be huge. Summoners have very large legs. They're very easy to hit. Very good idea by 228. And they've isolated Deceit, who's moved ahead of that Summoner.
But a self-destruction by the Timberwolf. So 1-1 match right now. The
Night
Timberwolf
Fox backed
or
up
228.
into the firing lane for stun, got beat up for it. He is in pain right now with one ERPPC remaining, but he did get out alive. And this Marauder 2C, Iron Kilo, going right in the middle of the group of them, self-isolating. He's working the legs of that Summoner. One shot to both legs. If he can get it, he can take him down in one volley. But he goes
and he
down.
Doesn't get it. Oh, that's tough. And right now, 228 in a bad position. Their mechs are spread out. They're just not getting the fire down because their mechs are too spread right now.
Damon Wolf taking a bad peek, not realizing it. In the backfield, though, we've got that Viper shredding up Soviet Armada in that Hunchback 2C. He could potentially even this up with everybody being as open as they are. The machine guns are going to start to shine.
He's got to keep the aggression up. He's got to jump down on these mechs in the backfield, try and get some of the pressure off the remaining 228 mechs, and that's going to be hard to do right now.
Griffin is relatively fresh here. His right leg, though, is open. If they can focus it, he does get legged.
He does get legged.
The Grasshopper is pretty much the last stand on the radio tower side. The Viper, though, still looks like he's all right and could potentially clutch
this. Leg Griffin is still up.
Still up and still killing. It looks like they're fanning out. Cap advantage for 228, but down to just the Wolverine and the Viper. Both of them doing pretty solid here. If that Wolverine can step back and start landing some of these shots.
Yeah, the Wolverine has to step back and start getting some kills in. A lot of damaged mechs, but he's got to be real careful. He's got a lot of people looking at him where he is right now.
Now a 4 cap for 228. It's not going to last long, but they're keeping those tickets rolling in their favor. They just cannot afford to start getting hit at all.
Wolverine doing the right thing, dropping down low, getting out of vision for a little bit. Just got to keep him guessing as to where he is. He can't keep peeking from the same side.
Marauder 2C, open shoulder, but of course he can take hits to both of those shoulders before dying. Nova, completely fresh. Left leg on the Griffin, 3M. Summoner, right leg, 1 shot. And then an extremely hurt, alright. This Summoner appears to be dead, but apparently isn't.
Which Summoner is that?
Honestly, I bet you if he steps on a rock, he will blow himself up, because it shows both of his legs as being destroyed on my screen. But that must mean he's got, yeah, he must have like less than 1 HP on one of those legs.
That must be a bug. I see he has 1 leg, bright. It's about red. I'm not even gonna say it's bright red.
Must be a glitch on my end. That Wolverine taking a bad step. He's getting chased down by that fresh Nova and the Night Gear. The Viper, however, backcapping Gamma, maintaining the 3 cap at least for now. They're pursuing that Wolverine, but they're starting to net him in, and that Marauder 2C might be there just in time.
And the Nova is about to get a shot on him, I think. If he can get a shot, he just took a shot from that Nova. He's got to put some fire down. Oh. It's all well and good to run, but you got to shoot and run at the same time. Absolutely. You got to get some damage out.
Viper still has a lot of fighting strength. If he can isolate 1 mech at a time, he might be able to make a difference here. The caps are going to switch back in favor of stun.
And the Summoner might be the first mech he comes up on if he's aggressive here.
At the very least, this could be additional rep for 228. If he sees him, this is going to be his opportunity right here to score his team 25 reputation.
He's got to go. Got to be aggressive. He's going to walk right past him.
He's going to walk right past him. Oh my goodness. He had no idea that he was there, and he walked right past that Summoner.
And he could have killed that Summoner and still dropped down and gotten the cap point.
Yeah, he had no idea he was there. He walked right past, exit, staying really tight to the rock and the ridge line. Did not give up his position. He is responding, however, to Kappa. But I have a feeling the Viper is going to continue his NASCAR. Caps are no longer in his favor. Capping at this point is not what he's going to...
Yeah, he's got to fight.
This is not going to get him a win. He has to fight. He cannot continue NASCARing. He cannot.
Yeah, at this point, his team's got to be looking at the points and say, provide that information to him. Say, look, you've got to get some kills. You've got to get some mechs down. Even if you wanted to have a chance to cap, there's too many mechs to compete right now.
Here comes that Summoner. Did he see him?
I'm not sure if he saw him.
I don't think he saw him. They just dropped an airstrike, too. Missed the airstrike. I don't know if you heard the explosion, but this is going to be an opportunity here for that Summoner to get shot on him. Lands the hit. He's getting help from the Nova.
The Viper's still going.
Oh, he has no idea how hurt that Summoner is.
And that Summoner
There he goes. Here we go. Here we go.
Come on, kill the Summoner. You can do it. There he goes.
There it is. All right. Well,
and
he's
there's
got
the Nova
right on him. He's got to fight here. He's got to win this fight right here. Those machine guns can do work if he can get any part of that mech open.
Nova's doing the right thing, backing off for a bit, cooling down. Viper is going to try and disengage, but I don't think he's going to be able to do it.
No, he should have just tried to kill that Nova.
Oh.
Left arm.
Just lost an arm there.
Yeah, he's getting wailed on at distance by that other Summoner. Get the leg, get the leg, get the leg!
Oh,
there it goes.
bummer.
Damage.
And that
he managed to pick up 1 kill, but again, 228, good focus fire, bad positioning there. Some mechs getting separated out. Steel once again doing a good job isolating mechs and taking down those mechs.
Another 8-3 victory for stun and pulling out the bonus because they kept their commander alive. And El Bandito Loco pulling 668 damage in that Marauder 2C. Definitely
must be the name.
Anybody with Bandit in their name is able to carry.
Clearly does better.
Oh, I went there.
Time to go change your name.
All right. Taking a look at the reputation. Steel Union at 875 rep. 228 at 500 with their 1 win. Starting to slip away, but as we know, comebacks can happen, especially in the higher tonnages.
And the higher tonnages are where 228 does better, so this is their opportunity here.
Absolutely.
Drop 3 actually, looking at the stats, is the strongest for stun. And in terms of average match score and average damage, Drop 3 is where they like to be. So 228 still has an opportunity to pull this out. They could certainly turn this around with the Drop 4 and a Drop 5 victory.
All right, let's take a look at the replay here. I had to actually rewind it a little bit. We've got a really good spread by 228, putting some damage downfield. Stun doing exactly what I think they should have done, which is an aggressive push. Hitting basically that Sigma corner, which is the lighter corner for 228. They were able to isolate a couple mechs here. I think this push was a very good idea. Sitting back and just taking it was not going to work for them. Leading with those dual summoners, the leg shots by 228 were on par. I thought that was very good work by 228, but they just could not seal the deal. I do see some of them hitting side torsos and stuff like that too, so somebody is not on the same page, and it could have been a difference maker getting the leg of that summoner before he crossed the pit. But either way, relatively good focus. Getting those summoners in there, driving 3 mechs down into the pit, and then Night Gear just getting walloped. He could not get out fast enough. The Timberwolf with a brave push to help him. Props to Vincent for backing up his teammate, giving him some cover. We do acknowledge when that kind of awesomeness happens. However, what an amazing strike right there, right across Vincent. I didn't catch that the first time. 76% with that strike, but his shots, though, landing pretty good. Of course, the Night Gear looks like he pumped a Goss into the back of Vincent. That never helps either.
No.
But Deceit,
not a positive thing.
Deceit self-isolating. Everybody behind him was relatively hurt, but Deceit continued that push. Vincent with the overheat. That never helps. And then the Night Gear backed up right back into the firing lane of stun and got completely mauled yet again. So a little bit of an over-retreat there. He would have been better off staying on the left. But that Marauder 2C bravely stepping up to the front. We got a lot of bravery here, but unfortunately, bravery sometimes gets you killed. He had the opportunity to finish off the summoner right here, especially if he shot the correct leg first. He would have maybe had the opportunity to slow that summoner down long enough for the double kill. But 2 quick kills against stun mechs right there. Or against 228 mechs. And that started the downfall. And I think one of those summoners ended up living too, didn't he?
It did.
Missed opportunities.
And really, it was on that initial push. It really felt like 228 scattered a little bit. And they just had some mechs that were in the next canyon over or too far over where they couldn't get fire down. And they had some mechs up front getting isolated. And it's one thing to avoid the brawlers by backing away from them, but you have to be able to still put shots downfield. 228 had some mechs that were no longer able to put shots downfield. Sure, they got out of range, got away from taking damage, but it doesn't help your teammates that are still in range because now they're outnumbered and taking fire. You've got to be able to put that damage out and can remain putting that damage out against a brawl push, even as you're trying to keep distance between them.
Stun doing a very good job isolating individual mechs, but I do feel 228 might have self-isolated a little bit too much, putting themselves in harm's way more often than I think they needed to. They definitely need to try and clean that up a little bit because just getting yourself in a 1v3 scenario is never a good option. I mean, you could tell it was panic. They were being pushed out hard. They were in full retreat mode and probably didn't have a clear understanding of where the enemy even was. They just vacated a region. Who knows where they are at this point. Losing that Grasshopper was rough. I think if they were able to keep that Grasshopper alive a little bit longer, he would have been able to continue doing work. But pretty much at this point, it was in the bag for stun, especially with that perfectly fresh Nova and just having 6 guys on the field capable of capping.
Yeah. And that's one of the most important things. Sure, you like a guy, bring him down, and suddenly, you're fighting a cap race 2v4 instead of 2v6, right? And that makes it just a little bit easier. People, they say, oh, it's important to keep your last light mech up in the event of a cap race, but if they've got, 6 mechs, 5 mechs still up, it doesn't matter if it's, a Locust that does 150 whatever kph, he's not going to be able to beat 5 mechs capping if he's just by himself. And the best you can hope to do is isolate mechs and kill them. And really, I think that's what the Viper probably should have been doing, other than trying to reverse cap points, because at that point you're just delaying the inevitable.
And I was just thinking that too, is that when you realize that you've got 6 hurt enemy mechs on the field, except for the Nova, of course, who's relatively fresh. I mean, you can try and go neutralize caps, and you can kind of use that to your advantage in that they're watching you cap, so they know where you are, and maybe you can bait them into you or something.
Yeah.
But really, his focus should have been trying to isolate and eliminate more so than trying to race caps. You're never, ever going to win a cap race, especially with tickets this even, against 6 mechs unless you're sitting at like 700 tickets or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, and he should have been peeking up and finding that summoner right there in the replay. That was a missed opportunity to take him out, and he could have been doing more of that way earlier on instead of just trying to outcap 6 people. It's never going to work unless they throw the match and are just basically a 3rd grade soccer team all running around in a pack or something. It's not going to work. You're not going to be able to outcap them. So that is the biggest critique, I think, is that that Viper had a lot of potential still in him to maybe, if he can get into a 1v1 scenario with any of those mechs, I think he could have won it.
Yeah.
I really think he could.
And I think we see that oftentimes too much in these competitive, well, I say too much. It's not uncommon to see this sort of thing in competitive play, and I'm sure it's just the mindset of, I can't win a 1v5, so I'm going to go cap and try and win cap strat. But the capping has to remain your secondary, like you said, to try and split the team up. You start seeing multiple cap points flashing, you should be aggressive, looking for individual mechs to kill to try and even the odds for you. There's no way, like you said, to be able to outcap that many mechs still on the field. Like, going for caps and caps alone is just going to delay it. You've got to be aggressive.
I
just
wish
got
he
to be
stayed
aggressive
on this Nova,
smartly.
man. I think he could have killed this Nova. I really do. With the machine guns blaring, all you got to do is open up his armor, and the machine guns will do the rest. It'll rip
and
those crits
he's running up
wide
against
open.
the heat. He let him cool down.
Yep, that's the other thing too. The dual PPCs, he could have stayed on him. He wouldn't have been able to fire back for very long, and that was definitely a missed opportunity there to pick up another 25 reputation. At this point, the match is lost, and then of course he had no idea that other summoner was there, and had an opportunity at that right leg, and he shot the torso first before the target info gathering came up.
Yep.
They had to have known they were going legs on the summoners. Somebody had to make that call to him, is shoot the leg, shoot the leg, shoot the leg. But, damn. We're nitpicking, like I said. But when you got that Viper, I really think he could have, him and that Wolverine could have done some significant work. If they maybe if they stuck together, if they were able to isolate somebody. It's hard to say. Especially if they kept the Grasshopper alive on the opposite side, they could have pincered. But
well, it's tough to stick together, though. You might want to play the same side, but the range bracket is fairly different for those mechs, right?
Yeah.
So you kind of want the Viper to be not right next to the Wolverine, because one of the 2 mechs is not useful. But you stay on the same
use the
side.
Wolverine as bait and then hide him behind make him take a shot, hide him behind a rock. They close the distance to try and get on him. Oh, there's a Viper there, and he's pretty much fresh, and I'm dead now.
Yeah, that like you want to operate in tandem where you can both be putting fire down at the same time, and unfortunately they didn't do that. Again, I think and the Wolverine never really played for caps, but maybe they were hoping they could do a 2v5 or 2v6 cap race.
And I mean, the big reason I think that we're focusing a lot on 228 here and saying, what they could have done, obviously they lost, they could have done a lot. Stun played very well. Stun definitely had a really good push.
Yeah.
They did everything that they were supposed to do, and they pulled off a win. I have no real critiques against Stun and how they executed. And I do think 228 had many instances where they actually kind of lost it for themselves by misplays and things like that. And that's why we're talking about them a lot, because they've definitely got a lot of work on that drop to try and clean some of that up. Because I don't think necessarily like their decks were horrible. I don't think their initial positioning was horrible or anything like that. It just, once that push happened, the reception fell apart, and they allowed themselves to get isolated way too often. So just back to the drawing board, try and figure out ways where they can pre-plan some sort of retreat in certain situations, certain rotations, something like that, so you don't just get mechs stuck down in a canyon in the future. And then the big thing too is get that fast medium a little bit more aggressive in the killing, and I think that would definitely go far. All right. So that is it for drop 3. Obviously, stun up 875 reputation to 500. Going into drop 4, the first time in MRBC history, we're seeing Terra Therma. Now, with that said, I think it was in older... They might have done it with Assault or something back in like Season 2. I wasn't around. But the new
The first
Terra
time
Therma,
in the MRBC history that matters.
the first time in MRBC
With
history
bandits
that
around.
the new Terra Therma map is being played. Obviously, teams have been playing on it, but this is our first time casting it, so I have no idea what I'm going to be seeing. 2 lights, 2 mediums, 2 heavies, 2 assaults on Conquest. And there's only one way that we can find out what we're going to be seeing, and that's to take a look. Actually, you know what?
Map looks darn weird from up high.
I forgot to do a giveaway, so I'll do a double giveaway after this drop. I'm just so excited to be casting. Gotta get back on the ball, man.
There are giant pits of lava all around the map on the outside edges.
All right, we are looking at
Gee
Steel
whiz.
Union. They've got Griffin 3M, Hunchback 2C, bring in the EMP Special for UAC 2s, Arctic Cheetah. Then we've got Night Gear with Gauss PPC, Night Gear Gauss PPC, Marauder 2C with UAC 5s and 10s and ER mediums, and a Kodiak 3 with 5s and 10s. What do you got over on the 228 side?
They've got doubled up on night gears. They have an Atlas AC-20, 2 flamers, 4 SRM6s on the Atlas S. That'll hurt. A small laser and machine gun Nova, Gauss PPC Kodiak, Arctic Cheetah, another Gauss Night Gyre, large pulse machine gun Spider, and an Ice Ferret with small pulse lasers. So a little bit of, or mostly Brawl with a little bit of Overwatch, I think you can say. 3 Overwatch mechs and the 2 Night Gears and the Kodiak.
Clearcom spending so much time watching that Ice Ferret that he completely missed main body off to his left side. Could have been making calls to his team, but they were able to slip around behind cover. That Ice Ferret keeping distance right now. Looks like Clearcoms is actually going to get a little bit of support here by that Hunchback 2C. If that Ice Ferret decides to challenge this Cap on Kappa, he might be in a world of hurt, but it looks like the Hunchback is going to get a few shots in, keep him at bay, and wisely that Ice Ferret staying at distance. Calling out to his team what he sees, though, and that's valuable.
And 228, I
information
think, is
for
going to like
228.
that because they've got some Brawl mechs on here. They've got an Atlas. They don't want to be spending their time chasing around the map.
All right, main
Although it
body
looks like
for
they
stun
might
is
be
over by
setting up to
Kappa.
proceed.
They're setting up over by Kappa, but they are still on the move. 228 is near Theta. They're down on Caps, but I think, based on the information they gained from the Ice Ferret, they know they're off to the left somewhere, but they don't know how severely to the left. But I think this Nova might be able to find out relatively quick here. Oh, he's going to have a nasty surprise. Here come the calls to his teams. They see him now. We're going to see all these mechs turning around, setting up the
And this
receive.
Kodiak's got to
Everybody's
get in a
recalling.
place where he's got an angle. That Kodiak's a Gauss PPC Kodiak, and he can't get fire out.
All right, so everybody has responded to Helto in that Kodiak, heading across the gap, getting tucked up behind a rock. Very tight cover here. We'll have to see how that works for him. He's actually trying to back out. But they have that Atlas S taking point.
And they don't want that Atlas S to charge yet. They don't want him to take damage either. He's valuable in the Brawl.
Night Gear in the back getting walloped by the UX. I think the UX are doing quite a bit of work here. Spider is taking some brave peeks as well. But so far, damage not looking
Night
good
Gear's
for
stuck on a
228.
rock. He's getting pounded right now.
They are hemorrhaging armor here. 228 not trading very well at all.
And
They're
this
gonna
is
have
a
to make
very,
move. We got
very
an Arctic
narrow
Cheetah
place to trade
coming
from.
up to behind to the left. If that Spider doesn't see him coming, that Night Gear might be in a world of hurt on that left side. He's spending so much time worrying about the guys in front of him that Cheetah could cause some major
And that
headaches.
Arctic Cheetah is walking
He's
right
jumping
up
right
on
up on him. Spider didn't even see him. Okay, Fango
There's,
Nova in that Kodiak
Locust
comes right
now
up into
on the
gap.
Spider.
Looks like the Atlas S is charging. I think they made the call, but he's charging all alone. That is not a good charge.
And down he goes.
Completely wrecked. Great airstrike.
They are in
right
a
across
huge
that
choke
tank here.
point right
He
now,
goes
too.
down as well. Not looking good for 228 at all. And they just lured them right into that choke. Griffin 3M right up in on that night gear. And I think Stun's going to just clean it up at this point. They've got
Yeah,
the
this
night
is
gear
all over. I'm
isolated.
not even sure they'll be
Clear
able to
comms
get a
in
kill.
that Arctic Cheetah, backcoring the Kodiak 3, and it is all starting to fall apart. Great job by Stun. What an amazing job working that corner, out trading 228. This could end up as an 8-0.
Yeah. And 228, unfortunately, they picked a rather poor position to sit with that choke point right there. I mean, they had the opportunity to continue maneuvering, and they chose to wait for Stun to close. I think they must have hoped that Stun would push into them, but instead they had to fight around a choke point, and it was all she wrote there.
Absolutely.
There's a
Last one was
spider alive, trying to get out of there, but he is not going to be able to do that, and I think this is all over.
He's lagged. 8-0 in favor of Stun. What an amazing firing line. And a good aggression, and the counter push by 228 definitely fell short. That Atlas, you can't bring an Atlas and not plan for major aggression, in my opinion. And the aggression came too late with no support. And
Yeah.
Atlas threw his mech away. Still managed 156 damage on the approach, though.
And that's just tough to see. Like I said, 228 really, they were maneuvering. They had some information, and they picked a point to fight. And unfortunately, I think just the location that they chose was not to their advantage. And Steel Union took full advantage of that mistake.
I think that Ice Ferret could have provided a little bit more information. He got chased off by the UAC-2s, but I think he could have stuck around. Seeing a hunchback there with UAC-2s, you know he's not alone. He's not just there because he wants to be. There's got to be someone close. And I think
it makes you wonder if he missed main body.
Ice Ferret he must have, but it would have been worth it for him to continue taking a look on that corner, because that could have been very valuable information. They didn't know that main body was there. At least it didn't appear that they knew that main body was there until like the Nova and I think a Night Gear or something shot at the guys coming around the corner. They were already screwed at that point. I mean, they weren't completely out of it, but there's no way that Atlas is going to charge that gap like that and not get shredded, because there's nobody able to shoot past him to help him out. There was nobody in brawl range with him.
Yeah.
He was a wasted mech at that point. He would have been much better off in like a Mauler or something like that. So they must have come in with a strat, and it fell apart based on Stun's movements to come around on that left side. That's all I can think of.
Yeah, the only thing I can think of with that strat is that they were hoping Stun would just push right into them, and they would have essentially the opposite. They would have the choke point advantage, but even then, there was less room on the side that they were at, so if Stun pushed through that choke point, they're on top of them.
Yeah,
whereas 228 tried to push through. Yeah, 228 tried to push through at the end there, and there was still distance to go outside of the choke point. Just, unfortunately, a tough situation, and that Ice Ferret must have missed it. Looking at the match here.
What I'm wondering is why is the Ice Ferret the primary scout for 228 when you have two lights?
And you have a spider.
You got a spider, you got a cheetah. Those guys needed to be more mobile, and they needed to be finding the enemy team, especially if you're brawl. If you're not worried about playing a cap game, your lights need to be finding the enemy team and directing your main brawl group to that main body. I mean, having those lights close like that provided nothing for your team.
The Kodiak and I believe one of the Night Guys were actually looking up at Theta until the engagement began.
Yeah.
They had no idea main body was there. That is tough.
And it really caught them in a bad position. That choke point, they would have been better off just backing away from this choke point and trying to draw a Stun into it. But they continued to press it, continued to try and force that choke, and then of course that Arctic Cheetah coming around the left side, just walloping the Night Gear, or at the very least putting pressure on him. Good light play by Stun. Very good light play by Stun. They were looking at the mini-map. The 228th was completely surrounded, and they had someone capping Theta. I mean, they were 5 capped. You can't let that happen. I mean, you cannot let your team get 5 capped like that. I mean, that's savage. And I know that because we've let it happen and we've lost because of it too. So, I'm speaking from experience, you cannot let yourself get 5 capped. You had to make a decision much sooner. This was an underutilization of the lights that caused a lot of the problems that 228 is having here. I don't think it was them missing shots or anything like that. They were in a bad place specifically because they had no idea where their enemy was coming from, and they allowed themselves to get run up on. They've got the fast medium and they've got the 2 lights, and the fast
they
medium
should
is
have
doing a
the
majority
cap
of the work.
advantage and the scouting advantage in that match based off the deck that they brought.
Absolutely, and we just were not seeing that.
Unfortunately, they had neither.
So, but well played by Stun. Very aggressive push up and just landing those UACs like a boss. Doing a fantastic job keeping the pressure on and then just taking advantage of any mistakes that 228 made. Did not let them get away with anything. Stun is definitely doing a lot better than they did in Drop 1, that's for sure.
Yeah, they've cleaned it up big time, and they're taking it. There were some mistakes by both team in Drop 1. Stun didn't take advantage. They've been taking advantage basically ever since, and it's been getting a little bit better each match. 8-0 is pretty tough to improve on. They've got 1 match to do it. On the other hand, 228, it's time to salvage this if they can on the final drop of the night.
Absolutely. I don't think... Well, it's not even a don't think situation. There is no way that 228 is going to catch Stun in Drop 5. However, every little bit of reputation counts in MRBC because it is a league. The reputation adds up, and it basically sets your standings in the league tables. Of course, we said before, we do have a second half of the season that's still to come, and if these teams can improve, we might see comebacks. Anything can happen. But it's going to be a tall climb for 228 at this point, at least, to salvage this map or this match. All right, let's do a giveaway. Like I said at the beginning of the stream, you get entered into the giveaway simply by saying something in chat, being active in the chat, and let's run it now. Wait, hold on. No.
Oh no.
Premium time, sorry. I was busy kicking MD off the roulette that I forgot to change what we were actually giving away.
Rip.
Alright, 3 days premium time. This is 3 one-day codes of premium time for this giveaway.
Ooh.
And then we'll run another one right off the bat for a Mech Bay. And the winner is Flynn Hassick
Oh,
of
come on.
BSK fame.
Rigged.
Congratulations, Flynn Hassick. You will be receiving a message from me.
Does always feel like our repeat viewers seem to win a lot, don't they?
Well, it's a
Maybe
good
it's just
thing.
because they're here more often.
We like
have
to
more
see that.
chances.
Yeah, we like to see that. We like our fans. We like people who come to watch some excellent MechWarrior Online competitive action.
Yeah,
Especially
see that?
when there's Star League finals going on right now. So everybody watching this cast, definitely thank you guys for sticking around. Even if you're dual screening, we appreciate it. We're here doing the work, and we are happy that you guys are here and enjoying it. Xavier NBT of Net Battletech fame, you win a Mech Bay. He's been winning a lot of this stuff lately.
They've been winning a lot of MRBC matches too. I'm not sure if you've been following along, but MBT doing well right now in MRBC.
Absolutely. And I know Xavier was in chat earlier when I said, hey, we're probably going to have a light viewership today, so if you guys are here watching, you've got a much better chance of winning something. But like I said, you only get entered into the drawing if you participate in chat in some fashion. So one more giveaway before the end of the night, 500 MC. That will be after Drop 5, so make sure you guys stick around. Once again, raising the bit rate on this stream, I don't know if it's made any difference, but I'm rolling at 5500 bitrate as opposed to my usual 3500. So let me know if it's improved it at all in any way, shape, or form. I'm definitely interested in the feedback. If anybody's having buffering issues, definitely let me know. But so far, I haven't heard anything bad about it, so...
Yeah, I've been monitoring chat. Haven't seen too many complaints, so that's I'll take that as a positive.
Any complaints?
I don't monitor chat that closely. Sometimes I just phase out the complaints, but
awesome.
I haven't even seen someone comment on the red text yet. I don't know if we've gotten through to people. The red text is not us.
Yeah.
We apologize for it.
Maybe the bitrate helps.
Maybe the bitrate's helping.
I don't know.
I think that's the magic
bitrate
answer.
Improves like the pixelation that happens when a lot of stuff on the screen are moving at once. I don't think it's necessarily going to increase the resolution or anything like that, or the frame rate or anything like that. It's just as things start to shift very fast with low bitrate, you'll see it start to flake out a little bit, and a higher bitrate hopefully keeps it crisp as you can get throughout the action when there's a lot of explosions and stuff like that. But
and everyone likes good, crisp explosions.
Good, crisp explosions.
Yeah.
One more drop for the night. HPG Manifold. 2 lights, 0 mediums, 2 heavies, 4 assaults. The heaviest drop of the night.
And this is such a strange map to have that heavy drop on. It can be tough. What do you do on HPG with 4 assaults? You can brawl push underneath. You can split Kodiaks and some brawlers. You can go all range, but it's a little bit more of a cramped map, a little more cover. Brawling can be pretty effective on this map, especially a heavier drop's a little harder to get on the wall. We all know the wall strat is quite good for ranged mechs because it puts you away from basically everyone else on the team. So a little bit of an enigma, I think. HPG heavy, a heavy drop on HPG plays very well on the light drops. I'm curious to see how teams adapt to this as we go on through the season.
If they're going to be sending anything up to the wall, most likely will be a heavy, maybe a grasshopper, or potentially they'll send a light up there or something like that.
I guess we don't have mediums.
No mediums in this, though. That's the key.
Right.
That's why it's so weird, is there's no mediums, 2 heavies, and 4 assaults. You might be able to see an assault climb up there. Like, there's a particular...
Yeah.
I think maybe the Bravo Lance for Team 1 might be able to force your way up there. The thing is, though... And so that, of course, is this point right here, Bravo Lance, and then you can kind of walk up and get up there without jump jets. That's one of the only corners where you can do it without jump jets reliably. The problem is, this corner right here, you have pretty much no cover to work with. So when you're up there, you're either forcing their heads down and staying up there, or you're getting your butts kicked and you're dropping off the wall because you can't out-trade people. It's very tough for an assault to survive there. I know it because I've tried it, and it did not work at all.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
I want to see a team take 4 assaults up top.
Oh, my God.
Let's see that.
Well, the other thing, too, is assaults more often than not won't have enough jump jets to clear this gap. So you won't be able to jump across. Your only option, if you shimmy up there, would be to go, like, over here. And if you went Charlie Lance with assaults all the way over here to try and get up on the wall... You're wasting so much time. You're basically 3-capped at that point, guaranteed. So your only option is Bravo Lance with an assault up here if you were going to do that. Probably not even worth talking about anymore because I don't see it happening. But if it does, I'm not going to say I'm going to eat my hat. But it will definitely catch me off guard.
Yeah, don't say that because we know what happened the last time.
Absolutely. But they can put heavies up there. They can definitely put like a gear up there if they wanted to. Is it Geyer? Is it... God, Geyer.
I like Geyer.
It's not. It's
probably
Gear.
not right.
It's not Gear because it's not GIF. It's GIF. Animated GIF.
Yeah, I'm a GIF believer, not a GIF. GIF is weird. That's peanut butter.
Yes, exactly. The owner or the creator of that doesn't know what he's talking about. But yeah. Anything can happen here. We might see just aggression on the bowl. Key position here is Catwalk for Team 1. They can set up here, behind Catwalk, and really control a lot of the map very easily. It's not as easy for Team 2 to get there. We could see strats running into the basement. I mean, there are options on HPG. And with the 2 light mechs, they can try and work some sort of cap game. But it really, the lights, they're not going to be supported. They're going to have to do it on their own. There's no mediums to back them up. No Novas, no Ice Ferrets. They're on their own. We'll have to see. And there is, of course, only one way to find out. And that's to take a look. Drop 5, 2 lights, 0 mediums, 2 heavies, 4 assaults on HPG Conquest.
I will admit, one of the best looking maps, in my opinion, in the game. Always like taking a look at HPG, some neat terrain features, some neat detailing on the buildings and things. Really feels like an asteroid moon sort of situation as it is.
I am seeing on the 228 side an Orion 2C doing a little bit of a pirouette, not really knowing which way to turn. But this is looking like pretty brawly for 228 right off the bat. But they do have Gauss PPC on the Kodiaks, sending them left out of the gate right off the bat. What is this? SRMs for the Orion 2C. Very brawly, Atlas-y kind of build. They did send their Locust to the basement for an immediate cap on Theta. Not sure what's going on in the backfield here because their Marauder 2C taking a really weird path to get out. And no cap on Sigma, no cap on Kappa. So 228 really looks like they're banking on the brawl to work here. On the stun side, they do have a wall presence with a Night Gear. Like I said, though, he is not going to have a lot of cover up here. And so
they've got a little
PPCs
bit of a
coming in from that Kodiak. He's going to be forced off this wall really quick. This is
they've got a little bit of a mixed deck here.
He's
on
allowing
stun.
himself to get shredded by those Kodiaks right now. And there he goes. Wisely, is he trying to get across? He's not going to get there.
He's not going to make it across in a Night Gear.
That entire move by that Night Gear was completely wasted armor. Good job by the 228 assaults.
It looks like stun's going underneath. This is where having seismic sensor is going to be huge for 228 if they can pick up that stun's going underneath with a Kodiak and an Atlas going underneath. Is this Kodiak going under as well? He is. 4 mechs now going underneath for stun. 228 sitting kind of on the other side. If they can catch them underneath, that's big.
They gotta see them now. They have to see them in there. There's no way they don't have that. They do still have guys on the outside, though.
Yeah, and if I were 228, I'd push those guys outside.
Yep, the left torso wide open for that Night Gear. He took a wallop. Looks like an Arctic Cheetah on the left side being ghosted by the Locust, and the Highlanders watching him too. But they're just kind of waiting to see what happens here. But while this is happening, 3 caps to 1 in favor of stun. They're going to try and hold the basement. There is still a single mech watching them and waiting. Arctic Cheetah.
Arctic Cheetah on the wall. I mean, Sigma has not been capped.
Yeah, he needs to be getting the caps. But while this is happening, hopefully they're watching Seismic because here comes Stun. No shots coming out on the approach. They're finally getting hit, but they're getting up top all like basically without getting hit at all. Cyclone Jack up front first, but here we go. The firing line. This is a really nasty
behind
choke
these
point
assaults.
They're getting a lot of those UACs up to the top. A lot of good fire coming in on 228, but they do have some really hurt mechs here. Daihalto in the Kodiak 3 going down on that approach.
That hurts.
Stun making a lot of really good shots, but Cyclone Jack, the Jenner 2C, has gone down. He ran up the backside with the Cheetah in tow, but gets focused down very quickly.
He got focused down by those assaults, but you kind of want those assaults in the battle here, and now there's a little bit of a disadvantage. They do get a Kodiak down for stun.
That Night Gear is still pretty hurt as well. He's pop-tarting in the backfield. Everything open on him.
The Atlas is on his own by stun, and he goes down.
They got a light fight here. Locust versus Arctic Cheetah.
228 needs to put the pressure up. They've got the mech advantage. It's time to start putting that fire down. They can't give up that.
Caps are definitely not an issue at this point. They need to focus 100% on the kill. JD Toker in that Highlander 2C heading up under the deck, trying to close the gap with his heavy brawl weaponry. Looks like he's going to get hit really hard and focused down by Vincent. Looking really good for 228, but they have a lot of really hurt mechs.
They've got to
Kodiak
keep
and
the
Night Gear
pressure up.
still sitting in the backfield. If that Night Gear gets touched by anything, he's going to pop. They still have Fango Nova with the Kodiak 3 putting a lot of fire on that left side. He could start getting some kills
Arctic
here.
Cheetah just got legged and taken down for 228. They're gonna need to keep those guys up.
Kanan
Kodiak
doing an
3 goes
excellent
down.
job cleaning up with that Arctic Cheetah. He's getting in there and doing a lot of work, and he's still relatively fresh. They can't find an
228
answer for
losing
him.
some of this aggression. There they go. They've got to keep these 4 mechs moving together, staying aggressive.
Bad peek by that Timberwolf, stepping up
That's
and getting
good.
shot really hard.
Good job.
He still
There's the
has
Night
a lot of
Gear
armor
still
left, though.
alive.
He's now going to be up against that Orion. If he could just land his shots, that Night Gear is going to be dead. There he goes.
Down he goes.
But just Kanan left now. He was doing a lot of work. Is he lagged?
And they need to cap here.
He is lagged. Arctic Cheetah is lagged. After doing quite a bit of work for his team, he's got nothing left in the tank. But he still has all his weapons. If somebody drops on his head without knowing it, he's going to have an easy back.
And this Highlander 2C, does he know he's there? I don't know.
He's
He doesn't.
watching
He's looking
seismic.
around.
Kanan's watching seismic. Here comes the pop shot.
There he sees him. Oh, but he jumps on top. He doesn't.
Oh, he gets it, but he,
Oh!
he gets killed in the process. Good
I take
effort
that trade.
by Kanan, but 228 pulling out the win. A bloody win. It was looking pretty good, but they had a lot of hurt mechs, and the remaining mechs for stun able to pull off a couple extra kills. That takes you pretty far here. 8-5 victory in favor of
But
228.
losing all 4 assault mechs with that Highlander going down.
It was a bloody
Yeah.
win for 228. They could have maybe kept some more of their
I
mechs
think they
alive.
stagnated a little bit when they got some of those initial kills up. At that point, I think they needed to be just a bit more aggressive, keep the pressure up, and they allowed stun to regroup a little bit and keep putting some damage out without taking too much damage in return. If they had been a little more aggressive there, I think that would have been much closer to a 8-0 victory. Obviously, it wouldn't have been 8-0, but it would have been a better victory for 228 than what they got now. But you know what? I think they'll take the win anytime.
Absolutely. I was very surprised seeing Stun basically able to get entirely out of the basement without taking a single shot from anybody.
Yeah.
I'm sure somebody had seismic, but they should have been able to call that a little earlier, get the mechs to the front. And there was a bit of a choke point there for Stun coming out of the basement, and they did not get as punished as I thought they probably should have by 228. But once they stopped there and started fighting, 228 was able to start putting some good damage downfield. Had a couple bad peaks, but ultimately were able to force them down.
That Highlander 2C, 624 damage. We've seen that Highlander a couple times in these drops. The 2C, UX and large pulse laser seems to be the build of the day for that Highlander, and it's doing pretty well in MRBC right now.
Absolutely. Very good. I mean, it's basically an Atlas in terms of firepower. It's got the LB20, which is savage, very savage with the crits, especially the crit buffs as of late. Very good heavy mech, right? Not heavy mech. Very good assault mech for brawling. And it's relatively quick as well. I don't know what happened to Damon Wolf in that Art of Cheetah. I'll have to take a look. I think he was fighting the lights over there, Kanan and the Locust. But no, they didn't even have a Locust. No, the Locust was on 228's side. But all right, let's see here. Was it 8-5?
8-5, that is correct.
Now they were not able to kill. They did not kill the Highlander 2C, so no bonus for stun.
Stun did kill the Highlander 2C.
I thought the Highlander 2C was alive at the end.
No, the Jenner traded with them. The Orion 2C was alive, and the Night Gear was alive.
Okay, so they got the
two
bonus.
heavies and a light. Yeah, they did get the bonus.
Okay.
They killed all 4 assault mechs.
All right, well, we'll fix that then. So, a win for 228 finally, but they had a lot of really nasty losses. 8-3, 8-3,
Yeah.
8-0. And then the wins for Stun were 8-5, 8-5. Thusly, the reputation heavily in favor of Steel Union. Only winning 3 drops, but still pulling 1,400 reputation. Very respectable.
Yeah, they got some good wins in there, and they had some good, quote-unquote, losses as well. And in
Minor
MRBC,
defeats and major
that's important.
victories add up to quite a bit of reputation, and that is going to help them in their conquest for first place in Division C. But if Kong comes in and if they play 228 again and 5-0s them or something like that, well, that's gonna
those two losses are gonna hurt.
Those two losses, they're gonna wish they could get those back. But you know me, I love close matches. Even though it didn't quite go in favor of 228, they still pulled out 2 wins, which is awesome.
Still a 3-2 match. That's what we like to see.
Still a 3-2. Well played by both teams. Let's go back to the replay here and see if we can find some of these big plays.
The amazing thing is that Nightgear got hurt so badly in the beginning, and he was one of the last mechs to go down.
He took so many hits, but then that got him to play really, really, really tight and was able to keep his mech alive.
But at the same time, still putting a little bit of damage out. You got to capitalize on those hurt mechs and take them down.
Absolutely. So Stun moving up into the basement. Sigma still remaining uncapped. I feel like 228 should have planned a little bit better getting their lights in on those caps early on, too. Not that it really mattered. It didn't come down to caps, but ultimately, I'm actually
maybe those initial cap of Sigma.
I'm really surprised that Stun pushed out.
Yeah,
they
the
had
cap
the 3
advantage.
cap against 1. Eventually, 228 could have forced a 3 cap or even a 4 cap, but it would have taken a long time to get to that point. Arctic Cheetah up on the wall. Does he actually jump down to Sigma? He's going to cap Sigma right as Stun was coming out. It looks like he didn't fall down though. So the call was made. He reversed. He's right in on the backfield. He's just watching them come out. I think he's waiting for the opportunity to come in on their backside here.
Yeah.
That Arctic Cheetah is just sitting there. I think he might have been better off kind of dropping down and getting cover a little bit closer to the action instead of staying on the wall.
It's a little bit of a slow reaction to it, but at the same time, you don't want to get too close too soon because if your team's not engaged,
at any point right now, he could have been backstabbing people and really doing good work for 228, but he's still on the wall. Still on the wall. That light is not doing anything right now, but I do want to back
all
up
about
here
timing
a
as a
bit.
light
so
mech.
Here's the push out. This corner, this choke point here is brutal for Stun. Really good angles. Basically, as you walk through, you have a limited firing lane here, here, and here as you cross, but they can shoot into you pretty reliably. And that Kodiak 3 taking a hell of a hit on the approach. Daihalto, though, overpeaked up on top and got killed early on, which is good for Stun. But then Cyclone getting popped in the back, focused down. Who got him? I know I keep rewinding, but that's a big play, too, taking that light down early. He's up there right now. He's right here.
I think the
Goss
assault's
PPC,
up top. Turned around.
And then Iron Kilo pops him. So that was good, taking that light out. That really helped 228 early on in that initial fight here. But that Atlas getting all the way up into the front here, not helped by his team. Solo pushing around the corner, they're able to just back behind cover, isolate that Atlas, and kill him with ease. That Atlas did not contribute very much at all on that push. Kanan X, though, for Stun, doing quite a bit of work on that backfield. Never giving up, just continuing to do work. Here comes that Highlander 2C pushing up right up through the middle. But he's able to get focused. A lot of self-isolation yet again. Not yet again, but by Stun this time instead of 228. 228 had a very good firing line, and Stun just kind of walked in one at a time at various times and just kind of gave themselves up. These last two mechs, though, on the side, Fango Nova, the leader of Stun, and his Nightgear in tow, putting out
They did a
some
pretty good job
damage.
grabbing some kills at the end when really I think the match was already decided. Made it much closer than it was originally looking like it would be.
So Kanan X, I think, popped 2 kills there and then got legged, but I think he ended up getting that Locust, which is big. But then finally we see the aggression we were looking for from 228, coming around hard. Highlander 2C taking an extra shot to take that Nightgear down, but ultimately lining it up and taking care of business.
It was the Orion 2C.
Orion
right?
2C.
Get your 2Cs right. Straighten out.
Well, they still have a Highlander up.
They do. The Highlander got killed by the legged Arctic, the Arctic cheetah at the same time.
Yep, there he is.
Which was big. I mean,
that is
they
huge.
traded
that
the
gave
Arctic
him the
cheetah
bonus.
for the bonus.
Yeah, that's 75 rep. Kanan X just got his team 75 rep with this play right here. That is huge. That is huge.
Yeah, that.
Good
I mean, especially when you're legged, you're not going to be able to run around and grab, surprise people, try and split them up and get the win. So as your leg, just getting a kill is big, especially for the bonus, even
it's
bigger.
Big plays like that add up in this league. 75 reputation for that heads-up play. MVP of this drop, at least for the losing side, still, obviously 228 still pulling out the win.
Yeah, still
I don't
pulling
want
out
to take
the win
that
there,
away
and
from
that's
them,
a good win.
But that was done just by a good, solid burn them down by 228, right? I think I saw big plays from individual pilots on stun side that made it as close as it was. But stun obviously just straight up getting outshot by 228 here. And then 228
outpositioned, outshot on drop 5 there. So 228 able to kind of turn it around there at the very end. Obviously, made a mistake on drop 4, came back on drop 5, and took the win. I like seeing teams that can kind of prevent their matches from spiraling out of control. Right, you have a bad match, and then you have another bad match, and another one. Regroup, come back at it, realize you got another shot, and they made this into a much closer game than it was going to be. Got themselves some much needed rep points as well.
Absolutely. So well played to both teams. Well played to Stun, coming away with the victory. 3-2 victory. Lots of reputation. Well done. So that is it for this match. Let's do one more giveaway. Get my tool up here. Obviously, anybody that's been participating in chat is going to be entered in. Notice there's 20 more people entered in this time, so people got involved here. So let's go ahead and say, who wants 500 MC?
I do.
Nah, I already took you out.
Ah, shucks.
'86 viewers. I did not expect that many people to be watching us tonight. I love you guys. I love our fans, man. Dedicated, awesome people out there. You guys are fantastic. And the winner is Dr. Killer 1207, coming away with 500 MC. I will be sending you a whisper on Twitch after the cast is completed. But that was fun.
Yeah, that was a good game. I enjoyed that. Enjoyed watching that.
I had a lot of fun. These teams definitely
saw some
crazy.
Comments coming in at the end there that the quality of the stream looked good. No lagging problems. People thought it looked crisp.
Excellent. That's what I like to hear.
That's what we're all about.
Shoutcast coming up. Switchblade casting 2323 Reggies versus New Texas Mercenaries.
And if you haven't watched Switchblade yet, he is doing a fantastic job casting.
Absolutely. He is doing a lot of work in the back end as well. I definitely appreciate him. We have our nice overlays set up and stuff like that, but it's hard to maintain when you're a man of many hats, basically. So I'm being pulled in 700 different directions, and having someone swoop in and able to bring their expertise, because I'm not a programming expert. But he is rewriting the entire caster tool, and it's going to make this so much easier to bring in new casters and get them set up initially. Excellent job by Switchblade. I can't wait to start using that. But May 6th at 9 o'clock Eastern, 2323 Reggies versus New Texas Mercenaries. RJ Base coming in on the 7th of May with Kong versus Blackthorn Dragoons.
Again, it's going to be a big one for Kong.
Again, on the 11th of May, RJ Base, Dropship Vive versus Osiris. Div A.
Is RJ Base double dipping there?
Double dipping.
Phew. And RJ, he's all about casting.
Absolutely. Switchblade then with 2323 Reggies versus Clan Widowmakers on the 11th of May as well. So we're going to have 2 casts. One of them on MRBC League, one of them on MRBC League 2. Make sure you follow both channels. and we can watch them at the same time. A lot of really, that's going to be great.
That's going to be a great day. A great day for Mech Warrior.
23-23 Reggies versus Clan Widowmakers, first and second place in Division D right now. That is going to be a match to watch. That is going to be exciting, and we'll be able to see between those two powerhouses in Div D who is going to be edging the other out in the first half of the season. That'll be Switchblade on that match, but that's going to be super exciting. Definitely thank you guys for watching. I am Bandit P17, and with me, as always, is MDM0.
Thanks for watching, guys.
Have a good night.